It seems a shame to go to Portsmouth and not explore some of the places nearby, so when we were there in the spring I took the coastliner bus over to Bognor Regis on the right on the map, came back via Chichester, and then from Portsmouth on a different day I went over on the ferry to ride on the Isle of Wight. This is a quick reminder of some of the videos I took back in March, and I have a new place to go to this month, so hang on for that. The other trip I made, which I nearly forgot to mention, was a very short one across the water to Gosport from Portsmouth Harbour and a look round Gosport town centre. Well, this month I'm taking an express bus service over to the left on the map, that's west I believe, and heading into Southampton, quite an important place in the shipping world. The bus was expected to terminate in the town centre by the Westview shopping centre, but I got off early because I spotted a couple of things down on the harbour. This ferry boat was just leaving, but there was a cruise ship in which I managed to get reasonably close to before hitting security gates. As you may imagine, there's quite a lot of history in Southampton, a lot of old stone buildings, and a few Wetherspoons as well. I passed this one by, the standing order. That's not a banking term in this case, I think it's parliamentary in nature. Some of the buildings were still wrapped up, perhaps to keep in dust while they work on them, but the bar gate was open. It's not a large structure, but it's interesting to look at, and it has a couple of little archways you can look through out in different directions. I wandered up through the town centre a bit further. I passed the shopping centre where the bus would have taken me and came across MAST, which is an abbreviation for Mayflower Studios. This is in an area where the university have taken a lot of the buildings, and the one I walked past next looked like an old department store. Mayflower Studios is a place where young people can get trained in various media and the arts and become the stars of tomorrow, and it's also an area where there's plenty to eat and drink to keep them nourished, and a few other quirky shops as well. The parks, I think, are worth a mention. Southampton has quite a lot of parks. They're all very pleasant, and they seem to all have statues of someone. I always think it's a great idea to have a bit of the country come into the town centre and some of the wildlife too, and these are great places to walk and cycle, and apparently for food deliveries to take a shortcut through. Google Maps is telling me if I cross at these lights and go straight ahead up that curving road ahead, I will come to the Giddy Bridge. That's my place for my mid-afternoon lunch. I always eat late lunch because they do it cheaper. Back to the Mayflower. No, not that one. That's a Triumph Mayflower. This is the Mayflower Theatre as against the Mayflower Studios. And why the Mayflower in connection with Southampton? Because if you Google where did the Mayflower sail from, it generally says Plymouth, but actually that's wrong. Plymouth is where they had to dock after they'd set off from Southampton because of a problem with the boat that was going with them. So the Mayflower eventually made the journey to America on its own, and that did actually sail from Southampton. Now, I've been critical of some of the train companies' liveries and logos in the past, so let me be complimentary about South Western Railway. The lines are very smart and clean, and the way that they've used the S, W and R as a logo, I'm quite impressed with. I do like SWR. And there we must leave Portsmouth, and the road you can see in the distance across the water is the out of the city traffic, as it's called on the signs. It actually goes to a motorway that's the shortest in the UK. Blink and you'll miss it. But I'm not using the roads this visit. I'm travelling back by train, and because of all the cancellations at the time I was coming back, I ended up going so many different routes and going to places I'd never seen before, and the last two legs of my journey were both done by rail replacement buses. Yes, the floods we've been having lately have severely affected rail travel and put a lot of rails underwater. So goodbye to Portsmouth, and I wonder where I'm heading for next.